There are SV40 sequences within the plasmids that were not disclosed to the regulators. The SV40 sequences, if you'll recall, the SV40 virus was a contaminant of the polio vaccines. It is thought that that contamination of the virus, which is oncogenic. I have a degree in biochemistry and molecular biology, and I'm a toxicologist and an expert witness as a profession, nationally and internationally. This is outrageous. I've never seen anything like this in my entire career. We have got to pull these shots and restrict them from our children. We cannot inject these into babies and children. These are contaminated, dangerous, lethal products. What may not have been clear is that the shots tested on the people in the clinical trials were vastly different than the shots tested or given to people released on the population. Basically, people were given in the clinical trial a clean shot. Everybody else was given these contaminated shots. Every single vial that's been tested by every scientist around the world is contaminated with these plasmids. When Kevin McKernan first tested the vials, he found that one of the vials contained up to about 30% of the nucleic acid material was in fact DNA. So this is not some residual contamination that's carrying over. This is significant contamination. Why does that matter? Gene therapy was never brought to market, even though it's been over 40 years in development, because in the past it caused latent cancers that developed 2 to 4 years after these were given, because it caused lethal autoimmune reactions. Even when you were producing human proteins, not viral proteins, not bacterial proteins that you are displaying on the surface of your cells. Think about the logic of this. In traditional gene therapies, and these are gene therapies, they would be classified as gene therapies. In traditional gene therapies, you send in a genetic message to make a missing protein. That protein is identical to the protein that should have been in your body, but you're missing. This time we're sending in a sequence and asking it to make a piece of a viral protein, and we're displaying it on our cells, and then our body is attacking it and killing those cells. It doesn't stay in your arm. They said it would stay in your arm. It goes to every single cell in your body, every tissue in your body. It goes to your brain. It goes to your bone marrow, where then your body is able to attack these cells. It is not a healthy platform for this. There's a difference between using this technology for cancer or for fixing inborn errors in metabolism as compared to using it in a vaccine. There you understand the risk. Here the risks were not told to people. I personally feel that this is an intentional I believe that there is nefarious intent. There are SV40 sequences within the plasmids that were not disclosed to the regulators. The SV40 sequences, if you'll recall, the SV40 virus was a contaminant of the polio vaccines. It is thought that that contamination of the virus, which is oncogenic, caused many of the cancers for the next several decades from the people that received these vaccines. Now, the whole SV40 virus is not in the shots, but what is in the shots is a special sequence. It's called a nuclear localization sequence, which is in the shots to take the plasmid DNA directly to the nucleus of human cells. It is not needed to grow these in bacteria. You would not have to use this to grow it in bacteria for the purpose that they said it was for, to make lots of copies. This sequence takes the DNA to the nucleus of human cells, where it can then be integrated, or where, as Philip said, it is most likely to be integrated. So all this about there's no DNA in the shots, they will not go to the nucleus, they will not integrate with your DNA is not true, and they knew it from the beginning because they knew the plasmids were there. That's a problem. There's also an SV40 promoter only designed to be expressed in human cells, not bacteria cells. Now, Philip has checked in something he didn't say, which is good news. for people. Dr. Buchholz, I keep saying Philip, which is good news for people, is that most of the sequences were broken. Had they been intact, and if there are any that are intact, and this is something he should have said, we have to check, they can infect the E. coli in your gut. That's what they're designed to do, to infect the to infect E. coli, which means you can be a perpetual spike factory because they're self-replicating, and they would self-replicate in the bacteria of your gut and then make spike over and over and over again. That's a problem. They also carry an antibiotic-resistant gene cassette to kanamycin and neomycin. Kanamycin is the main antibiotic used to treat tuberculosis. Neomycin is another antibiotic that's widely used. People that receive these, if it transfects the E. coli in your gut, it can make your gut and other bacteria, not just that, it can make them resistant to those antibiotics. That is a huge, huge risk. And it's something that's known for plasmids. It's something that they're careful to make sure that you don't have these antibiotic resistance genes if they're making something that should go into gene therapy. And now it's here. Now it's present. I've worked for several months to try to get these shots recalled. Completely recalled. They're dangerous. We're injecting these in our kids. We don't inject contaminated medical products in our kids. Something Dr. Buchholz didn't touch on as well is if there's that much plasmid in the shots, there's a very good chance that there's bacterial endotoxin in the shots, which means bacterial proteins which can cause anaphylaxis and even death. And that may be what caused some of the rapid deaths that occurred right after people got these shots. Please protect your citizens. Please, I am begging you to protect your citizens. We've got to get one state to stand up and do the right thing. Do whatever you can so that other states will follow.